Hi everyone, this is John Oye with Severe Service Specialists, or as many of you know as Triple S. This morning we're going to talk about replacing a gear or actuator on an existing Mogas valve. The valve is already welded in the pipe and we need to change the gearbox or the actuator. First off, you want to get with the plant, make sure you're on the lockout tagout or any other permits that you need required. Secondly, always make sure you're wearing your proper safety equipment. So first thing you want to do is, if the valve will move, you want to go ahead and open and close the valve completely so you can get some designations of your open and close scribes. The important thing is when we put the new actuator or gear on here is we want to make sure that the open and close stops are exactly the same that they were on the original actuator or gear. Coming from Triple S, you're going to notice that we have some paint marks on here with the O for open and the C for closed. You can utilize those, or you can use the scribes that are on the stem of the valve. Once you have your open and close marks and you know exactly where you need to be, make sure you return the valve to the fail position if there's springs in the actuator. So you want to remove your air supply, remove your electrical supply so that the valve does go into the fail position. Once you do that, then we can remove the actuator. Once you have the actuator off, you want to inspect your bracket and coupling to make sure that there's no excessive wear. Also, you want to check and make sure that your keys that connects the coupling to the valve stem, that your keys are in place. Okay? All that's good, so we're going to go ahead and proceed with putting our new actuator on. Before we do this, we want to confirm that the new actuator is in the same position as the valve. In this case, we know the valve's open and my actuator's open. So we can go ahead and proceed with installing the new actuator. Remember, when you're putting the new actuator or gearbox on, you don't want to put any excessive downforce on the stem. You want to make sure that it slides on pretty easily. This is going to make it easier to take apart down the road if need be. Also, we make sure we don't want to shove our stem down in the valve. Once you have it all on, there's going to be 4 bolts connecting at the bottom of the bracket to the gearbox, and then there'll be 4 bolts connecting the bracket to the valve. Put those on, check, figure out what your proper torque requirements are, make sure you torque down the bolts properly, and then from there we can move to the next step. So now we want to go ahead and set the stops on our actuator. The new style unitorque, which is what we're using today, the stops are here. So these will be my open and close stops. If it's an old style unitorque actuator, the stops will be located on the end caps. In a case where we're using a gearbox as we are today, what we try to do at the shop is set the stops on the gearbox and we'll turn the ones on the actuator out of the way. All right, so we'll use the stops on the gears. This is where you'll find the stops on the gearbox. So hook your air supply up, hook your electrical up, or if you need to, if there's a manual gear, like in this case, you can put your hand wheel on, but you want to turn the valve fully open, fully closed, and make sure you line up the stops using the scribe marks that you had noted earlier, either on the coupling or on the stem. Once you have your stops set and everything's proper alignment and you feel comfortable that you're in good shape, the last thing you want to check is your packing bolts. Make sure that your packing bolts are nice and tight, snug but not too tight to where we freeze up the valve. Cycle your valve a couple times, make sure everything's cycled nice and smooth, and then from there you're ready to go. You can turn it back over to the plant and let those guys use it.